publicly. If you don't want me to see your, if you don't want anybody to see your face, please feel free to not have your camera on, all right? I just need to tell you that. Anyway, you are all okay?
Yeah, good. Yep.
Banging, 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 banging. Right, I'm just going to get started, to be fair. And we are going to... Right, so I'm going to speak about Christmas. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Banging, banging. Right, just pop yourselves on mute, but just unpop yourselves off of mute if you want to chat or ask any questions or anything, all right? It's just to stop the back thingamabobbery thing. Right, so I'm going to speak about Christmas and how to navigate the Christmas festivities and feel awesome. So even though I've just put you all on mute, could you unmute yourself and tell us if you want to share if there's anything you're particularly anxious or stressed about? And if you're not, then don't.
Can I
Feel
start then? Yeah.
yes, go.
Thank you. It's getting through the to-do list and yeah, trying to keep the meals in check and just the planning, the whole planning of trying to remain calm when you've got a bigger to-do list than normal.
Are you speaking about a food to-do list or like a guests coming, decorations, Christmas presents
Yeah, the
to-do
whole the whole thing, the whole thing. So we're having guests, and we're also doing food, and yeah, just keeping it all, trying to keep it all real and enjoyable, and not getting overwhelmed by it all.
Okay, cool. Anybody else got anything?
I think it's kind of keeping on track with the tracker, and there's so much kind of t tasty food around at the moment, and just yeah, try not to overindulge but still not feel like I'm missing out.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else got anything they're particularly anxious about? Hi, if you've just joined us, by the way. Right. I've got a couple of questions from you, all right? And I've got a couple of questions from Instagram as well. So I'm just going to go through them. But I want you to all to remember, right, that Christmas sometimes isn't actually the problem. It's the way that we think about Christmas. So I think a lot of us are so ingrained and so used to given into the pressure from other people or given into other what we think other people's expectations are of us, that we need to go all in, we need to be some superhero, we need to drink on every occasion, we need to eat all the good food. And sometimes that just causes us a stress more than anything. Does that sound fair? I don't, or do you all, yeah, it's do it myself to be fair, all right. It's like we can do what we want, right? We're all awesome women. We're all adults, allegedly. All right, myself included. But we are all awesome. And do you not think that sometimes we just care too much about what other people think? I do sometimes. I know that. All right. But so Christmas is the same as like Fiona, you were speaking about your to-do list and stuff, right? So if you made a to-do list at any other time of the year, would you what would you do that you don't think we could do this time? You would break it down into manageable chunks? Would you delegate anything on your to-do list that you maybe wouldn't have done before?
Yeah, and I also think that you possibly not the same time constraints. So you see the big date looming, or whatever dates they are, they're getting closer and closer, and you feel as if you're running out of time. Whereas with a normal to-do list, you
Uh,
you know, if it
yeah,
happens next week, or maybe, well, we'll just move that further down the line. But there isn't the opportunity to move anything because the date is rushing towards you. And
yeah,
Christmas is a lovely time to be enjoyed. And you're right, I think we put ourselves under phenomenal pressure.
yeah. It is like everything else that I yabber on about. It's about planning and prep and asking for help and delegation because you're entitled to enjoy the festivities as much as everybody else. But I think as women, and because we've got households and because we've got families, we set ourselves like a way up here. I'm not saying you should crash and burn, obviously, because that'll just make you feel like shit. But it is about delegation and planning and prepping and starting early, I suppose. Yeah. What about guests and stuff? Has anybody got guests coming over? Is that causing you stress? Are you okay?
We've got 10 coming for dinner.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not the cook, so it's
Nah.
fine.
See, back to what I said before, delegation.
Yeah,
Absolute delegation.
I'm the sous
Will
chef,
you
and
enjoy it?
I'm there for service only, so that's it.
Right, okay. So it's about, just like I said, it's about planning and prep, right? As is most of our lives, to be fair. But it's also about like doing enough to let you enjoy it, but not getting sucked into it has to be planned 100%, or you're just going to ruin everything if you haven't done everything perfectly. None of you do anybody, you don't hold yourself accountable in 100% perfection. I hope you don't as my clients anyway. Yeah, definitely not. So think about what you can plan, think about what you can prep in advance. Like Jack, you've got 10 people coming over. Do you plan or do you prep any of the food in advance, or is it all done the night before? Or the day,
No,
the day
no,
of?
that's all planned in advance. But my husband, he's dead good at all of that kind of stuff, and so we've set the menu out, and some of the stuff's already made and already in the freezer. We did it like we were off for last week, so we did quite a bit of it last week, and we just put it in the freezer, and then on the day or the day before, you bring it out and stick it in the oven. There's loads of
Right,
things you
okay.
can do in advance, food wise. You can do in advance and chuck in your freezer if you've got room in your freezer, because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
tend to buy hundreds of food that no one's ever going to eat. But yeah, we've done a lot of that. Even daft things like mashed potatoes. You can make the mashed potatoes a day before, and then you just microwave them and put cream or whatever you're wanting in them and stuff. So we've done loads of that already.
Good. Good.
That's
So
on
planning.
me. Just before you think I am this angelic, I know everything. This is my husband that's on the ball with most of that, and I just join in.
Yeah, fair. Thank you, Jack. Thank you. So planning and prep, and it's exactly the same with like Christmas Day, Christmas dinner, right? A lot of people will be like, "Oh my God, Christmas dinner is going to tip me over my calories." It's one meal, right? It's literally one meal out of 21 meals throughout the week. But if you know that you're going to go all in, which is totally cool, right? And if you know that you're going to go all in for the full day, so you're going to turn that one day and that one meal into a full day event, amazing, right? If that's your thing, that's totally cool. But it's about planning and prepping and doing what you can on those other 6 days of the week. Does that make sense? It's not like you don't have to go all in. You don't have to overeat at Christmas. Do you not think that's quite a shocking statement? Because we're so used to doing that. But you've got a choice. Like, we're all adults. Somebody asked me a question. I'm going to keep this anonymous, all right? But if the person's on here, so if they want to jump in, they're more than welcome. Is it okay to have a day or two off from recording food? Absolutely. 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 I don't want you to feel under any sort of pressure that you should have a perfect MyFitnessPal for the full fortnight of the holidays. Definitely not. But what I would ask you to do is plan and prep, as in make the decision about what days off you're going to have or what meals off you're going to have before the festivities start. Because I've got other clients on here as well that, and again, stay anonymous if you want to, it's not a problem, that finding that making a decision before the social event is very helpful to that decision coming true. So if you decide that on this night you're going to go all in, on this night you're not going to go all in, the chances are that that'll happen. Whereas if you decide that, I might, I might have a drink, I might have 3 courses, I might have a pudding, I might go all in, chances are that might all turn into a yes. It's very often very unusual for a might to turn into a no thanks. So have a think about what situations you want to go all in and what situations you don't want to go all in, and then you get to choose. But yeah, I'd be very disappointed in my nutrition clients if their MyFitnessPal was perfect over that whole fortnight, because that means that you're not really living in the moment. And it's a fine balance. You just need to live in the moment. Yeah. Somebody else has asked, how does everyone else plan over this period? For the first time ever, I actually have a bit of a plan going into it, but would love to know if there's anything else that is effective. So if anybody wants to jump in, right, this is my plan. And then if anybody wants to jump in, please do. If you don't, that's also fine. I am going to have Christmas Day off. I'm not training. I'm going to have my normal breakfast, which is baked oats. We have an early lunch because my mum doesn't like driving in the dark. So we're going to have Christmas lunch, which is turkey, roast tatties, roasted vegetables, and whatever else you have. Some kind of cake for pudding. I don't know what kind of cake. And then we're going to have nibbles at night time if we're hungry. Boxing Day, I'm going to be back on the protein packed goodness. And I'm going to train on Boxing Day as well because that suits me. And I'll probably do the same at New Year, although Hogmanay, I might take Hogmanay off. I need to decide about that as well. So I'm going to have 2 days off or 3 days off, pretty much. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share? You don't have to. It's not a show and tell, but if you want to, you're very welcome. No? Okay.
Can I
So,
ask a question? Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry. Mine is obviously about alcohol. Like,
yeah.
when you're having your days off, are you just drinking whatever you want on the days as well? Or are you planning what you're drinking, or are you deciding what you're drinking beforehand, even though you're having a day off?
I'm totally the wrong person to ask because I'm off it, remember?
Oh,
I can't
aye.
handle my hangovers anymore.
That's right.
Right. If I was on it as in going all in and drinking alcohol, I would pick something that I really, really, really like to drink.
Aye.
Do you
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So again, it goes back to practicing saying no, thank you. So if somebody's nobody would do this, right? When you walked in their house, they're going to hand you a shot. Nobody would actually do that, right? Well, I don't think anybody would actually
No.
do that, right? But if somebody handed me a tequila rosé, I could quite easily say no, thank you, because that's going to make me spew. But from a diet and a nutrition point of view, I don't want to waste any calories on anything that I'm not going to enjoy.
Aye.
Does
My
that
thing
make
is,
sense?
I'm all right because I'm doing Christmas dinner this year, so I'm totally in control of that. No problem. It's the Hogmanay thing. Do you know, like, I think we've got to go out for food, few drinks, back to a house with friends, so then it's house measures and all that. That's when I start thinking, that's when I start getting a wee bit anxious about, because you end up getting a bit pissed and then you're just a bit like, ah, all right, I'll just have another one. Do you know what I mean? It's Hogmanay.
And before the night, yeah, before you know it, the world has ended. But
That's
again,
it.
that just comes down to choices, Stacey. We forget that we've got choices. And we do get caught up in the moment. That's exactly what happened to me a couple of
Yeah,
Sundays ago, and I was absolutely dying. I was wiped out for 2 days. Do you
that's
know what I mean? You
right.
do,
Aye.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just about practice and not guilting yourself. Do you know
Yeah.
what house you're going to? Can you take alcohol there first?
We'll probably do that. We'll probably drop drinks off first before
You
we
could do
go.
that.
Aye.
And then do you
And
decide that you don't want to, do you make the decision, well, I'm not going to drink in the pub, I'll wait till I get to my friend's house?
maybe
Or do you drink in the pub and not drink at your friend's house?
I'd probably, because I'm not a massive, I like a nice glass of red wine with my food, but that would probably be it. Do you know, like while I
Yeah,
was eating, I wouldn't really, because I tend to drink water when I'm eating. So it'd probably be drinks back at the house more likely, because it's more of a sort of everybody standing around talking, socialising. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
I think the problem is you have these people, I have friends like this, I don't know, you probably have friends like this as well, who do not let your glass empty. Or if you've got an empty glass, they immediately fill it up. Do you know, even if you're not wanting
yep.
that drink particularly right at that point in time. So it's a bit like, am I hiding my glass? I don't know, what am I doing?
Yeah, it's that pressure, I suppose, isn't it?
It is.
Just,
And I think as
sorry, I
well, if you're in
don't.
somebody's house, you're a wee bit, you feel a bit rude do you feel a bit rude or do I just feel a bit rude? That's
No.
probably more me than anybody else, to be honest,
No, I think
actually.
that's a valid point. Jack?
Yeah, I was just going to say, because Caris and I have had this very conversation when I go to my friend's house. She's very much, our partner's always up and down, and he's always the one filling up the glasses and everything like that.
Yeah.
And you're like you, do you feel rude? But you're like, these are your friends. These are your friends. It's okay just to say, no, put your hand over your glass and say, no, I'm all right, I'll finish this one first. Because if you're anything like me, it's the never ending wine glass.
Yeah.
What I've only had one glass of wine, but you've drank 3 bottles of wine, because you know, and it's that way where I found it. So I've had that, as I say, I've had this very conversation, and it's like, just saying, no, it's all right, I'll finish this one. Nobody cares. Nobody's, they're not going to judge you or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, I'm all right, I'll finish this one first.
Yeah.
And if it's the type of house, I don't know, your friends are right, if you're up and about and wandering about, it's easy to sort of avoid the topping up the glass, or going away and getting yourself a wee drink of water. I found that as well. So
That's
like, doing that as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's
No, that's fine.
Very,
I appreciate that, but
very
my
familiar.
plan is to definitely. I'm going to actually take an actual bottle of water with me. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I've always
Done that.
got it on hand just to take a wee swig. But it's I know it's weird. I think it's ingrained in you. You're just like, oh, thanks very much when somebody gives you a drink, but it's no ingrained in you to go, oh no, thanks. So that's something I have to practice, actually. Something that I need to practice it. So this will be a good test for me this year, actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
It's not as
yeah,
hard as you think. It's not as hard as you think. That's all I'll
Aye.
say.
I
But I've
just think
been
if you
where
get
are,
past that first, see if I say it once or twice, then I think it'll be like message received.
Mhm.
So right. Thank you for that.
I was at a party last year, it was my friend's husband's 50th, and I went with some like alcohol seltzer things, low calorie things, and I wasn't really in the mood for drinking. And he came up and he thanked me for drinking his birthday party because I wasn't a big drinker. But thereafter that, I just put soda water in my glass and he thought I was drinking. So I get the not wanting to offend people by not drinking or somebody wanting you to have a drink. So I just put soda water in my glass and he thought I was drinking these alcoholic seltzer things all night.
Right.
And it made him happy and I left with like I'd had like a drink and then I could
Aye.
function the next day. I'm like Caris, my hangovers last 3 or 4 days. It's not worth it. But he thought I was drinking, he was happy and I was happy.
Right.
So
That's
yeah,
an
so
option, actually, to try and get these sort of wee drinks, eh?
Yep.
pretend you're drinking.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
It's
everybody else gets
bonkers.
pissed and leave a notice that you're no drunk.
Exactly,
No,
but
exactly.
it's daft we feel that way, but I get
know.
why.
That's
Yeah.
a societal thing, though, eh? That's a deeper thing. But
Yeah.
I think it's
no,
changing.
that's good. That's a good hint, actually.
Pretend. Get a fake one.
Aye, I'll do that.
Elspeth?
Yeah, I was going to say something similar to Sarah, and I mean, it was nothing to do with not getting drunk, but my father-in-law always poured generous measures. So if I had a whiskey in his house, it was like a triple.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, this is years ago, but I couldn't leave an empty glass or couldn't leave it with whiskey in it. I'd always feel obliged to drink it. And then I twigged that the wine that they drank was low alcohol. So I just go, no, I'll have a glass of wine because I knew that was like 5% or something and I'd be fine on it. So again, sometimes I find, and I don't know if you're a beer drinker, but if you actually take bottles of drink, you're in control of them. Nobody's going to fill them up for you. So you can have one and you can make it last for ages. And like Sarah said, you can put something else in the bottle. Nobody will know.
That's a good
Just had a
point.
couple of drinks.
That is a good point. Yeah.
Top tips with the alcohol.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It is a fine line, Stacey, because I am very much about give zero fucks, but it is difficult when you don't want to. If you're not used to saying no thanks, then you can turn it into something. It's hard until you practice.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. I
Basically.
just need a bit of practice at that this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of questions as well of the sorry, Emma, you asked about keeping on track and tasty food. And I think that goes back to just what we were speaking about earlier about you need to find your balance between enjoying yourself and not feeling deprived. And I find that easier to decide what situations I'm going into and what situations I'm going to say no thanks. Exactly like Stacey with her alcohol. That makes you sound like a raging alky. That's not what I meant. But you asked that question. You know what I mean? So like if you overeat, right, what's going to happen? The world's not going to end, and the guilt that you have is going to do you way more damage than the extra calories. So if you are thinking about fat loss over the festive period, that's amazing. But also think about enjoying yourself. I left somebody a voice note earlier saying that they're practicing, they're a bit concerned about the socialness of Christmas and it might destroy their good habits. But learning how to navigate social occasions so that you enjoy them and you do it without any guilt is a good habit, I think. Yeah, does that make sense? We've got a lot of guilt attached to food and alcohol and stuff like that, but like, is the world going to end? Nah, we need to keep it realistic, yeah? Is anybody going to try and starve themselves in the morning so that they can earn their Christmas dinner? Would anybody have done that previously? No, just me. Don't starve yourself, all right? Your calories do not need to be earned. It's just a Christmas dinner. It's just nice. Do you know, it's family and it's friends and it's about being social. And it's like when you go on holiday, my top bit of advice to you was don't be a dick, but make sure you enjoy yourself. Yeah. Has anybody got any other questions? I want you all to feel awesome and I want you to enjoy yourself and I want you to set your non-negotiables. So if you're going to be super busy, decide how many times that week you're going to train. If it drops from 5 to 2, that's cool. It's better setting yourself 2 and managing 2 or 3 than setting yourself 5 and only managing 2 because that'll make you feel like shit. And it's the same with your meals in and your meals out and your calories, etc., etc. It's about setting realistic goals, and your goals might not be the same as they would be on a week that Christmas isn't happening in, and that's cool. But being realistic is the way to win, basically. So nobody's got any guilt. We're all going to enjoy ourselves. Fiona's going to delegate. Are you going to delegate your to-do list? Or have you delegated already and it is actually your to-do list? Can't hear you, Fiona. You need to unmute yourself.
There I am. Sorry. Yes, I can delegate. I mean, I did have one year where my husband was tied up all day. My family come to me at the end of this week, and a lot of them stay. And so it's a very busy. There's only 12 of us this year, but in previous years there have been a lot more. And one year, I was on my own, and I just did everything, and I burnt everything. I everything was like ad hoc. And at the end of the night, I said, I don't think I can ever do that again. But the following year, when my brother said, I take it we're still coming to you again next year, I heard myself saying, oh, yes, I'd love that if you want to. And actually, it's been fine since then because they come and stay and I do delegate and it's much easier because I can't always rely on my husband when Ron being here because Ron's outside. If there's a breakdown,
Yeah.
he might have to deal with that. So but just exactly as Jacqueline said, my potatoes are already parboiled and in the freezer. I've made the chili for like before Christmas dinner. There's a lot of things already in the freezer, soup, rolls, alcohol, like you, Caris. I'm really not taking alcohol. And I've found it incredibly easy now just to say to people, oh, thanks very much, but I'm driving tonight. And I'm very lucky that both of my brothers have actually given up alcohol. So there isn't even any pressure there to drink in my family now. It's just the young ones, the 20-somethings, we just have to buy all the shots and all that for them. But it gets easier. It was hard at the start, but it definitely gets easier.
I think, yeah, thanks, Fiona. I think it's just saying no to anybody can be hard when you're not used to it.
Yeah.
Whereas you actually need to do everything that you can to protect your choices and to protect your enjoyment. And if that means cutting back on the alcohol so that you get a decent night's sleep, or do you know what I mean? Not drinking like a bam because you didn't want to eat all the shite that inevitably comes with it, then it's just practice, I think, as well. And there is a certain extent about giving zero fucks about what people think about you. But Fiona, you said earlier, sorry, just say no thanks, no thanks, I'm driving. If you even say that when you're not driving, nobody's going to go and check that your car's in the driveway. Do you know what I mean? And nobody's going to force a drink down your throat. It is actually quite an easy thing to say. But for some reason, we can't just say no thanks. We need to add something in the end there. And if it's I'm driving, then that's okay. So I suppose the biggest thing that I want you to do from this is I want you to set your own boundaries. And I want you to set your non-negotiables. So if your non-negotiables are a walk a day and 2 training sessions a week, or your non-negotiables are you must hit 100 grams of protein, for example, it doesn't matter how small your non-negotiables are, but if you can set realistic non-negotiables and get them as a win, then you will feel more inclined to enjoy the social events without any guilt. And that is what we want. We want a guilt-free Christmas and a guilt-free festive period, because you're all going to be smug bitches because you've set your non-negotiables and you're going to achieve your non-negotiables because they're realistic. Therefore, you can go and enjoy everything else. That's my top advice, ladies. Does anybody have any questions, anything they'd like to add in, anything they'd like to say before I let you all go about your normal day of being awesome? Banging. Ladies,
Everybody
thank you
has
very
a
much.
lovely Christmas. That's all I would say. Have a lovely
Yeah.
Christmas.
Oh, well done,
Yeah,
Jack.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
You
have a lovely
too, guys.
Christmas.
Have a great Christmas.
Be
Thanks, guys.
awesome. Be awesome, everybody. I'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.